What's up? What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Nurse Channie. I was going to give my whole YouTube spiel. I am just trying to get set up here for this live. Alrighty. Let's see. Okay. Alrighty. So I'm going to get started. Oh, I don't know what that was. Hopefully, my connection is good. Sometimes my Wi-Fi here at home is not that great. Anyway, what's up? What's up? Happy Tuesday. So, wanted to go live tonight because I get this question or comment often in my DMs. A lot of people will DM me and say, Nurse Channie, I want to travel nurse, but I'm scared. And guess what? I was too. 3 years ago when I started this venture into travel nursing, it was a whole new world for me. I definitely was scared to take the leap. And so tonight, we're going to talk about some of those reasons why you're probably scared to jump into travel nursing. And if you have questions, I'm going to try to save those questions for the end of the live. And I got a couple questions that people ask me in my stories, and I'll answer those toward the end of this live. But I'm just going to go ahead and get the intros out of the way. So if you don't know me, I'm Chandra, aka Nurse Channie, the know-it-all nurse. No, I don't think I know it all, but we'll get into that too, why that's my name here on Instagram. But anyway, so I am a labor and delivery postpartum travel nurse. I've always worked in women's and infants, never done med surg, ICU, all that stuff. Shout out to y'all. I don't know anything about it, but moms and babies, I know everything about. Okay, well, not everything, but most things about. So I jumped into travel nursing about 3 years ago, and it's been a game changer for me. Best career decision ever. I have no plans on going back to being a staff nurse. I'm just not about that life. And so, I want to talk about, again, some of the reasons why you may be scared to take that leap. But first, I want to let you know, if you look in my bio, it says I help women dream big, which I think that's super important because as women, we're nurturers. We take care of our families. Sometimes we put our goals and dreams to the side, which is much of my story. And so I want to help other women dream big. I help women travel more because obviously I travel for work and I just love to travel, period. I am coming out with a guide pretty soon about how to travel smarter. I think I've flown over 45 times this year. So I want to teach you how to navigate traveling with ease. And also I help women with work-life balance because, again, as moms, aunties, whatever role you play in your family, we're always here and there and everywhere. And I think it's very important for us to create some work-life balance so we're not as stressed and feeling overwhelmed while we're trying to nurture and take care of our families, okay? So that is, in a nutshell, who I am. So let's talk about how I got into travel nursing. So, no lie, 3 years ago, probably around this time, 3 years ago, I was sitting at my desk. I was working as a nurse case manager. And I wasn't fulfilled with my job anymore. My job itself, it was kind of mundane, boring. I just wasn't fulfilled with what I was doing. And I kept saying to myself, there has to be more. Plus, I wasn't making any money. I think at the time I was making like $60,000. And I was just, like, I guess, comfortable where I was. Like, everyone I worked with was mad cool. My supervisor was great. I worked 4 10-hour shifts, like a 9 to 5 schedule. So those things worked. But the work I was doing, I just didn't love it. And my girlfriend had started travel nursing maybe 2 years before that. And travel nursing is something that was always on my agenda as far as my career. But I was a mom, I was married when I was a new nurse, and I just was like, how can I not be here with my family to go travel nurse? Like, it just wasn't even something I ever considered. But at the time that I decided to go ahead and take this leap, I was now divorced. My youngest child was in his last year of high school. And so my girlfriend kept telling me, you can do it. And I kept giving her every reason in the world why I couldn't do it. I was like, no, I can't do it. Which all boiled down to excuses at the end of the day. But I was just like, I can't do it. And she kept trying to encourage me, like, I'm telling you, you can do this. And so one day, it was just like a light bulb went off. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired of coming in here to this job. I'm just tired of this. And I was looking at how much money travel nurses were making. So I was like, yeah, I think I can do this. And so I literally sat at my desk, Googled travel nursing in Maryland. Because my son was in his last year of high school, I knew that I couldn't up and travel. But I said, maybe I can take a local travel assignment. And all the balls just started rolling. And so I literally applied for this job, and I kind of did it on a whim. I didn't know if I would get the job. I didn't know if I was qualified. There was just so many unknowns. And I decided, let me just go for it. And so when I filled out the application, immediately the recruiter called me. So I was like, oh snap, like this is like really real. So I started the process of sending him my resume, sending him all my credentials. Like the ball just started rolling like a snowball, like a snowball that started small and grew within a matter of hours. So I was like, oh my God. And so I had been at my job maybe about 2 years at that time, but I had worked there previously. So I had a history at this job. And I was like, how am I going to tell them that I'm quitting? Because I felt like I had this loyalty to that job. So that's reason number one why you're scared to travel, because you have a loyalty to your job. A lot of people don't want to admit it, but I know that that's a fear of a lot of people. You feel like, how can I go to my job and tell them I'm leaving? They need me here. Sis, trust me, they don't. Like, they will fill your position if needed. Like here in Maryland, this is an at-will state. If they no longer want you to be an employee, they will escort you out of the building. You get what I'm saying? So I felt a loyalty to my job, and my supervisor at the time was one of my really good friends. And so I felt like so guilty, like, oh my God, how am I going to tell them I'm leaving? But I made the decision, I'm leaving. And so that's what I did. And so within those next 2 weeks, I turned in my notice. And when I tell you, writing my letter of resignation and turning in my notice was like the hardest part of this process. And once I did that, like, I was like, that was easy. Like, the conversation wasn't heavy. I turned in my notice and my employer was just like, okay. And so that was that. And I felt such a sense of relief. Like, I did a YouTube video. I remember I was sitting in the garage at my per diem job, and I did a YouTube video, and I was like, I just quit my job. And so everything started swirling in my mind. What kind of benefits am I going to have? What about my PTO? Like, all of those things that we covet so much became a reality to me. Like, I'm not going to have those things anymore. And so that's another reason I feel like people are scared to leave their current employer to jump into travel nursing, because you have this fear of the unknown, and you think about those things like your PTO. Like, if you've been on your job for a long time and you've accrued all this PTO, yeah, that's a concern for you. What about my vacation time? Like, what about my benefits? What about this awesome insurance package that they offer me? What about my 401k? Like, all of those things are definitely things that I considered when I was making this decision. Sorry, y'all, my nose is running. find some tissue. I'll find some. And so that those were my fears. Those were my fears, and they are legitimate concerns, right? So I decided I was going to do it, and I did it. I completed a local contract here in Maryland, which wasn't bad, and that kind of was like me dipping my toe in the water to see, am I even going to like being like this free agent and not attached to any employer. And when I tell you I loved it, I absolutely loved it. Now, let's talk about PTO and benefits and 401ks and all those things. Guess what? As a travel nurse, I still have all those things. Now, the PTO, not so much. I've only had 2 agencies that I've worked for that offered PTO, and it's like a real minimal amount, but no worries, you can get around your PTO. And so I did it. I started out with a 3-month contract locally, and then I extended it another 3 months, and then I was like, okay, this is where it's at. And then I was like, you know what, that's it. Once my son graduated that June, I decided I'm taking the show on the road, and that's what I did. And I have not looked back since, and I have no regrets. And so oftentimes it is the fear of the unknown, fear of change, that makes us scared to do something different. Another thing that plays into that is family and friends. So we all regard our family and friends as like our wise counsel most of the time. So you really think about, what is my family going to say about me doing this? What are my friends going to say about it? Like, I grew up as an only child. So definitely I worried about what my mom would say, because she thought I was crazy to just quit my job and start traveling. She's been very supportive, but in the beginning, she was like, what is this all about? Again, because it's not something that she was accustomed to. And so family and friends and the opinions of others can sometimes sway your decision one way or the other, because again, I think most people with your close circle of people, you regard their opinions as kind of valid, but it's just that. It's just their opinion. And at the end of the day, they are not paying the bills in your household. They are not taking care of you. And so you can take their opinions into consideration, but it's just that. It's just an opinion. So take it for what it is, okay? Another reason that you may be scared to jump into travel nursing is because it's not the societal norm. So in my age group, the millennials and younger, you guys have a different mindset about things. But in my age group, I'm 46. And so we were kind of taught, you go to college, you get a job, you collect contribute to your 401k and all those things. And so those are kind of the norms for us. But again, you don't lack any of those things when you decide to jump into this travel nurse world. So for me, it was the best financial decision that I have made. Like, nowhere in my career before did I make well over 6 figures. This year alone, I've made well over 6 figures. I've been able to pay off lots of debt. I've been able to increase my credit score by 100 points in less than a year. Like, it was just a win-win for me. And so those ideologies that we're taught about, you have to do this and that, those things, I kind of think we're moving away from that. And so you got to really think about, how is this opportunity going to benefit me? And if the pros outweigh the cons, why not? Why not try to do something that's going to help benefit your life? And people always think that this is like forever. It's not a forever thing. First of all, most assignments are 13 weeks. And now people are not even taking 13-week assignments. People are jumping on these 4-week, 8-week, 6-week assignments, okay, and making lots of money. But Traditionally, a travel assignment is 13 weeks, okay? That's 3 months. You can do anything for 13 weeks. The 13 weeks goes by so quick. So just imagine if money is your why, and I'm going to venture out to say probably 90% of people who travel nurse, it's because of money. Let's just be real. So if money is your why, if you think about your financial picture where you are now, and if you want to change that, and right now there are people offering $7, $8, $10,000 a week to do the same job that you're doing in your staff nurse role. Like why wouldn't you jump into that opportunity? Now I know children, a lot of people who I interact with are single moms and or moms who are married. And so those things can be different. So I can't talk about being a travel nurse as a married woman, because by the time I started doing this, I was divorced. So that adds a whole different dynamic into it. Raising children as a travel nurse, again, I can't speak to that because my children were grown at the time that I decided to jump into this venture. But I have met tons of women who are travel nurses who either travel with family members that help them with their children. If this pandemic has taught us nothing, it has taught us that children can be educated from anywhere. I think you just have to wrap your mind around that change. Again, I'm not well versed in that because it's not something I have had to do, but I have met women who have homeschooled their children, again, left their children with family members, which that's a hard decision because I know when I was raising my children, being a present mom was important to me. So those are things that you have to consider, but I don't think it's impossible. We're talking about 13 weeks. Like really, if you think about your situation today, where you could be a year from now, if you just decided to make some changes, like you could be so much further than you are now. And I know that because I have experienced that. And so I think those were the biggest reasons why you're scared to jump into travel nursing. Now, I do want to say it is not for everybody. So when I decided to start travel nursing, I went to YouTube and I was like, okay, let me figure out what kind of information, because YouTube, I call it YouTube University. There's a wealth of knowledge about anything that you want to know on YouTube. And so I literally started researching travel nurses on YouTube. The one thing that I did not see was people who look like me. I didn't see a lot of us as travel nurses. And I only heard people talk about the money, which that's the good part. I didn't hear people talk about the challenges that you may face as a travel nurse. And so that's why I decided to start talking about some of those things on my own YouTube channel and platform to give people a realistic view of what it is. Because the money, that's the easy part. That's the great part. What people don't share with you is like the downside of it, of being lonely, being away from your family and friends, being very transient, having to go into different hospital systems where people may not be the most welcoming to you because you're a traveler. They know, again, we're getting paid much more than they are to do the same job, okay? And so there's lots of things which I could do a whole other live on that. So there's lots of reasons why, people are scared to jump into it. But those are small things to me. Like really, the mindset that I have about it is, one, I'm here to make my money. That's the first thing. Two, I'm here to do a job that I love. I love being a nurse. I love my moms and babies. I'm here to do what I love and get paid to do it. And I'm here to fill a staffing need for a short time. And guess what? If this situation no longer works for me at the end of my 13 weeks or however long my contract is, I'm out the door. And I'm okay with that. Like, for me, it's like a win-win. And so you really have to consider your travel nurse. Why? Whenever I talk with people, I always tell them you have to know why you're doing this, because sometimes those shifts do get long. Sometimes the weeks do get like, you get up to here with it, like I'm just over this. So you have to stay connected to your why, because that makes this a little bit better for you. And there's an end in sight. Like, unlike working as a staff nurse and you hate your job and you don't like the people you work with and management is not supportive, because those are the things that we commonly complain about as nurses. Listen, that's a problem for the staff nurses. And I hate to sound selfish, but it is what it is. I don't have to deal with none of that. I'm like, okay, sure, great. I'm here for my 12-hour shift. After my shift is over, I'm done. After my 13 weeks is over, I'm done. And so I just don't get wrapped up into the whole politics on the unit. And I would never recommend that. Like, some travelers come in here like, oh, we don't do this at my hospital. We did this. Like, no, I don't do none of that. This how y'all do it. This is how I'm going to do it, okay? And so for me, it's just been a win-win. Definitely, is it perfect? No. But would I go back? Would I trade it for being a staff nurse? Absolutely not. I don't want to be on the committee, the education committee, so I can climb the clinical ladder, so I can get my 50-cent or my $3 an hour increase in pay. No, I have no interest in that at all. I don't want to have to plan my vacations a year in advance. I don't want to have to work holidays if I don't. That's right, girl, in and out. I don't want to have to work your holidays. Like, this year, I think it was New Year's, was the first holiday that I've worked since I've been a traveler. Typically, they don't want you to work your holidays as a traveler because they got to pay you more. And a lot of times the staff wants to work the holidays because they're going to get their time and a half. So, no, I don't want to work your holidays. And I'm perfectly okay with that. So there's lots and lots of benefits to it. And your fears that I've talked about are very valid. But it's not stuff that you can't work through, navigate through. And trust me when I tell you, the thought is more fearful than actually taking the leap. Because again, if you think about your life a year from now, you could be so much further than you are in a situation where you're not progressing with your growth in your career, financially and otherwise. And so that's all I got. I do have some questions that came about in my stories, and if you guys have any questions, drop them below. So somebody asked for specific requests like working shifts in a row or salary. When and where do you present them? So first of all, your scheduling. Now, every hospital is different how they do scheduling. I personally would not recommend going into an assignment like, these are the days I want to work. I don't work Sundays. I don't work weekends. I'm only here Monday through Friday, because they're going to tell you, ma'am, we don't need you. Travel nursing is based on demand. So it's based on three things: location, the demand or need for extra staffing, and your specialty. So I would not recommend going in telling them, I want a block schedule. I want to work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's it. I wouldn't recommend that. However, what you can do is when you interview for your travel nurse position, you can ask the manager, how do you guys schedule? Like, what's the process for scheduling? And they can let you know. Unfortunately, you may not get the schedule that you desire because you are here to fill a staffing need. And if you get the schedule you want, that's bomb. Like, really, scheduling has been the least of my worries. in my assignments, but that's not the same for everything. Like when I was in Massachusetts, the scheduler was great about asking you, allowing you to sign up for the hours that you wanted to work. So that was great. My current position, we work off of a scheduling template, so we know 6 weeks in advance what our schedule looks like. This has probably been the most complicated scheduling issue that I've had. When I was on my local assignment, same thing. They let us pick our hours. So to answer this question, I would recommend that you talk with the manager when you interview to find out how scheduling works. And if they allow you to block your time, that's great. But if they don't know that, if that's a deal breaker for you, then that's a deal breaker for you. That might not be the assignment for you. But just know that as a traveler, you are there to fill a staffing need. And so you may not always get the schedule that you want. What was the second part of this question? Salary. I always want to know how much I'm getting paid before I'm assign a contract. So that's important to me. Salary, I need to know up front, because that will be a deal breaker for me. Like if I'm not getting paid what I desire to get paid, I'm not going to take that contract. So when you want to know that when you're talking with your recruiter, because your recruiter is going to be the one that's going to talk numbers with you, and that's the person that you're going to negotiate with. As far as like needing time off, that's something that you want to put in your contract. Like if you know in December you don't want to work a specific week, you negotiate that into your contract so it's in writing, so that when December comes and they try to schedule you for those hours, you're like, nope, it's in my contract, I'm not working those days. So definitely those are things that you want to negotiate before you sign anything. About requesting time off, this is another thing that I don't recommend. I don't recommend that you go in like, look, I'm taking 5 vacations and this is what I need y'all to work around my vacation life. Like, it doesn't work like that. Yes, you can negotiate some time off, but just be kind of gentle with that, especially going in the door when you've not even been on the unit, you've not met, the people there, you haven't like read the room or tested the environment. So don't go in with, yeah, I need to take 5 vacations. The beauty of being a travel nurse is that you can schedule your life around your contracts. Like right now, I'm looking forward to, y'all, I've been grinding it out since November. I did not intend to stay on my contract that I'm on now for this long. And almost a year later, I'm still there. It just works for my life. It has tons of benefits. It works for my life. But I'm tired. I'm getting ready to take a break. And so my contract ends on November 18th. And I don't plan on renewing it. I plan on taking a break. For how long? I don't know. But I am prepared to take at least like 3 to 4 months off. I was thinking about that today. And I'm like, will I be bored if I take 3 to 4 months off? I don't know, but I'm prepared to do that. Like, it's time for me to rest and reset and invest some time into my brand and my business. And so that's my plan. We'll see how things go. But anyway, you can design this to work how you want it to work. If you want to work 6 to 8 months out of the year and you want to take some time off, do that. But don't go into your assignment with the thought in mind that I'm a traveler, I'm gonna just take 5 vacations while I'm here. You may not be so lucky with that, okay? Hope that answered your question. It was a little wordy. Another question, do negotiations happen before or after the contract? I think I kind of answered that already. Always negotiate. Okay. Can you bring me some tissue? Please, thank you. I'm sorry. always negotiate whatever you want before you sign that contract. The contract is legally binding. Once you sign that contract, You can't go back and try to add stuff to it. So when it comes to my money, I'm definitely negotiating that up front before I sign anything. Again, if there are vacations I want to take, I'm putting them in there. Time off that you need, whatever, negotiate on the front end. Once you sign your contract, it's kind of hard to go back and add those things in. Do you have, this is a popular question, do you have a specific agency you prefer over another? No, I do not. I definitely don't. Thank you. So when it comes to agencies, one, I always recommend that you are working with more than one agency. And I'll talk about that on another live, but I always recommend that you're working with more than one agency. Do I have a favorite? I don't. I have some agencies that I have had good and positive encounters with, but for me, I'm going with whoever's paying me what I feel like I'm worth. And that's just the bottom line. Like, I'm not loyal to any agency. When I first started out as a travel nurse, let me tell you, my first recruiter, no, my second assignment, my recruiter was so sweet. Like, I loved her. She sent me gifts. She checked on me all the time when I was away. Like, she was great. She helped me get my California nursing license for free. She was great. And I was like, oh my God, I feel like, you know, every time she pitched me an offer, I was like, well, maybe I can see if I can do it. But then I noticed I was feeling like some of the offers she was giving me were kind of like lowballed, and I would see the same offer with another company. And that's why I recommend you work with more than one company, because different agencies, it may be the same position. Agency A may list it for $2,500 a week, and I'm just throwing these numbers out because we know right now it's a pandemic and nobody's working for $2,500 a week, okay? So agency A may be offering $2,500 a week, and you'll see the exact same position. Another agency has it for $3,000 a week, and you're like, wait a minute, where's my other $500? So initially, because I was new at it, I did feel a loyalty to her, but guess what? These recruiters are not your friends. I'm sorry if it's I know a couple of recruiters follow me. This is not personal, but it's a business arrangement. Like, it is a business arrangement. They are like the go-between. They are the ones helping you to find the job. So there's you, the recruiter, there's the hospital. So it's a business arrangement. They are helping give you information. They're helping you navigate. They're helping you, to get into this hospital or to get into this position. But just always remember, they're not your friends. They can be the sweetest person in the world. If you no longer want to work with a recruiter for whatever reason, you decide you don't owe them an explanation. You don't owe them anything. Like, there's tons of agencies and recruiters out here. That's just, it is what it is. So I never feel any loyalty to a particular agency. Yes, I have worked with agencies that I liked over others. And I can probably, in the comment section, put some of my favorite agencies that I've worked with. But, no, I go with whoever is giving me the most bang for my buck, okay? And another question I got was, what if you haven't done bedside in a while? Do agencies have an issue with that? So, yes, not necessarily an issue, but typically it's not the agency, it's the hospital. So hospitals want to know that when they hire nurses to fill a staffing need, they want to know that you are ready to come in and hit the ground running. So listen, I wasn't going to talk about this on this live, but y'all know we call it a pandemic, okay? It's a pandemic. People are getting paid money to travel nurse, okay? That money it's luring. It brings you in. It's like, okay, I want to make $10,000 a week. Why not, right? And so, do what? Chicken. It's fine. I'm sorry. What about IV skills? Unless it's an easy stick, I have trouble. Girl, me too. Is it necessary to be strong in IVs as a traveler? I'm gonna come back to that. So as a travel nurse, they want you to be able to hit the ground running. You get maybe, it depends on the assignment. You can get anywhere from 1 to 3 days of orientation. And that 1 day of orientation may literally be, here is the code to the supply room. We're going to take you on a twirl around the unit. That's it. Like, you don't get an extensive orientation like when you are a new nurse. And so that is why I don't recommend new grad nurses travel. I know y'all hate to hear it, but I don't recommend new grad nurses travel at all because you're not prepared. You don't have the skill set. Now, I was 10 years in the game before I traveled. I don't think you need 10 years of experience, but you do need a solid foundation of, I'm going to say, 1 to 2 years. And it depends on what you've experienced in those 1 to 2 years. Like, you need to be able to critically think. You need to be able to take care of the most complicated, the sickest patient on the unit without needing a whole bunch of assistance. Now, don't ever be in a situation where your license is at risk. However, you need to be able to hold your own. Like, you need to be able to assess and provide those interventions for your patient without a lot of guidance. They want you to be able to hit the ground running. There's not a lot of hand holding. They expect you have the experience, you're going to come in here. Again, travel nurses are hired to fill a critical staffing need. Otherwise, they would just hire the staff that they need and train them. Okay? So, what about IV skills? Unless it's an easy stick, I have trouble. Again, girl, me too. So, early in my career, I had LPNs that worked with us, and they started all our IVs. And so I learned how to start IVs, but it's not something that I'm super proficient at. So, girl, it has not stopped me from being on any assignment. Like, the most IVs that I've started in the last 3 years is when I was on assignment in Massachusetts, and I got all of them, surprisingly. But I'm going to be honest, every time I had to stick somebody, and you know, our pregnant women who come in are dehydrated. Their veins are never popping, okay? And so every time I had to start an IV, I was like, Lord, let me get this stick. And to be honest, in the whole time I was there for almost 6 months, I only missed 2 IVs. So I was super proud of myself. But, baby, I'm going to go find somebody to start an IV for me. And I will stick you. And I got a 2-stick rule. Part of the other reason why I'm not great at IVs is because I was a phlebotomist before I was a nurse. Now I can draw your blood with my eyes closed in the dark, okay? The angle, it never works for me. I'm always at the wrong angle. It's just not my thing. I don't beat myself up about it, okay? Listen, I can deliver your whole baby and all that stuff. But start the IV on you. Can anybody come help me with this IV? I'm going to try it. I will try it. But if I don't get it, IV therapy? Can we call another unit? Can somebody help me with the IV? Like, it is what it is. So I don't worry about that as much, but I know it can be a concern for some people, especially depending on the area that you work in. Like, you work in the ICU, I imagine you probably have to be proficient at starting IVs. Labor and delivery, they really want you to be proficient at it, but me, I'm not. And that's just what it is. Any other questions before I end this? I hope this was helpful. Listen, I just feel like I'm really big on people getting out of that mindset of being fearful of doing things, because there's a whole world out here for us to explore and experience, and sometimes it is our own fears that are holding us back from doing amazing things in life. And I definitely have felt that before. Yeah, it's just one of those things. But sometimes you got to tap into the thing that's going to lead you to the next thing. And I'm not saying travel nursing is the end all to be all. I'm not saying it's for everybody. But what I'm saying is, if you have the opportunity to try something that is potentially going to change your life, put you in a better situation than you're in right now, like, why not? Why not go for it? Why not at least try it and say, okay, I tried it it didn't work for me. And that's okay. If you try it and it doesn't work for you, it's okay. Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? I can't think of anything. So thanks for joining me on this live. If you catch the replay, leave me a comment. Let me know I caught the replay. Let me know if any of this resonates with you. I'm going to do more of these lives. It's something that I've been wanting to do. Look, talking about being fearful of things. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, but I really want it to be purposeful. I don't just want to get on live and just be talking for what we've been on here for 40 minutes now about nothing, but I want it to be helpful and purposeful for the women in this community here. So listen, you don't have to be a know-it-all, but I do want you to push past those fears and live your best life. I thank you guys for watching, and I will see y'all on the next one. If you get a chance to click the link in my bio, I would love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I talk about nursing, travelers, nursing, and lifestyle topics on there. Alrighty, I will see y'all on the next one. Peace out.